Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio. Brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Atlanta Business Radio, and this is going to be a good one. But before we get started, it's important to recognize our sponsor, OnPay. Without them, we could not be sharing these stories. Today on Atlanta Business Radio, we have Gavin Cicchinelli with PrimeRevenue. Welcome, Gavin.
Thank you very much. Excited to be here. Appreciate you inviting me on to discuss today.
Well, before we get too far into things, tell us about PrimeRevenue. How are you serving folks?
Yeah, we at PrimeRevenue, we are a local company here in Atlanta, and we facilitate global working capital. We'll get a little bit more into that, but essentially we facilitate the exchange of financing to our suppliers and our buyers in our funding ecosystem. The neat part about our technology, and we are a technology platform, is that we plug all three of those core functions from the buyers, suppliers, and banks together. Effectively, as a core example, some of our clients, like a Volvo, for instance, where they buy their products from all the suppliers throughout the global scale of the world, those suppliers onboard to our platform and technology, along with Volvo, and then some of our 100 different banking partners to facilitate funds to the supplier that Volvo buys products from. That way they get their money faster so the supplier can reinvest their business. They can grow, they can add scale. And equally, Volvo gets to push out their term to a certain degree, 30 days, 60 days, so they can reutilize that working capital as well. So we're a true platform that helps to facilitate working capital solutions and freeing up cash along the supply chain.
And the supply, and focusing on the supply chain is kind of on purpose, right? Because like you said, there is some lag between when people do the work and then they get paid, and that's stretching farther and farther, and then you're kind of enabling everybody to get paid faster.
Oh, yeah, it's exactly right. And it's one of the kind of the known but unspoken things. Every supply chain has its own terms in which they pay their suppliers. And in some cases, businesses, they want to grow faster, or they get much accelerated orders, and they've got to reinvest and sometimes can't wait for that payment. So that's where we step in with our platform and help facilitate that.
So now Atlanta being kind of a fintech hub, was that part of why you kind of grew up here in Atlanta?
Yeah, well, technically I actually grew up in Colorado, but as an
organization,
yes. That's a good point of clarification. Yes, it is absolutely right. To be within the Atlanta market and to be among, obviously some of the largest payment platforms in fintechs is a great accomplishment, number one. But it allows us to work locally and act globally. Specifically in Atlanta alone, we have about 150 plus local suppliers that we do business with. In fact, AGCO is one that comes to mind right away. And that's something that we like to do and be a part of in the local environment. AGCO was actually utilized our platform for them to specifically unlock $30 million of reinvestment back into their business for R&D research. Couldn't have come at a better time with the pandemic, right? To be able to help support the agricultural and all the needs of us being at home, to put that money to work and expanding the systems and figuring out how they can grow their own organization. So doing that within the Atlanta proper area, I think is critical because all of our parties and technologies and partners that we work with are just up and down the streets. So it's a great place to be.
So now, also marrying that with how important supply chain and logistics is to Atlanta, that probably gives you some kind of secret sauce, some ability to really, especially in the early days, to grow and to learn.
Absolutely. You couldn't be further from the truth, and even be able to assist at an entrepreneurial level for some of those newer businesses. Kind of a real-time example that pops in my mind. is one of our customers, Jenny Hayes, who had started a business just in a response to not having healthy food to her children. So she went and started her organization, her company, and unbeknownst, all of a sudden got a massive order from a UK grocer, so kind of something locally here we would think of like a Publix or a Kroger. She couldn't fill the order. So, we were able to act locally and help and step in and really facilitate getting the cash that enabled her to grow and reinvest as an entrepreneur, where in most scenarios, maybe that would have toppled somebody, unfortunately. So very happy for Jenny and the success of that story, but that's exactly why, we love being in Atlanta and helping and growing from entrepreneurial to big corporate supply chain.
So now, is your solution kind of industry agnostic?
No, typically in global supply chains, you tend to see some retailers and some of those core, traditional brick and mortar supply chains, but it is not agnostic. We've actually, our underlying technology is a true payments technology in the true sense of what the Atlanta market would know as a payments platform and gateway. And so the ability to continue to expand that, and again, one of the core reasons I was excited to join the team here is the scale that PrimeRevenue has across all different verticals and globally. It is 400 key customers like a Volvo that I mentioned, even up to and including different verticals that Boston Scientific or ConAgra, all of good examples and good clients and customers of ours, and about 400 others globally that work with us. So we work up and down in a lot of different verticals, but the adjacency of that payment transactional gateway is also what I'm excited about, because we're talking today about supply chain and unlocking that capital. But the worlds of traditional commercial B2B payment processing, and it's a world that I've come from, and spent 20 plus years in. And now combining that with supply chain finance, the ecosystems are really starting to become close. So to where that example of Jenny that I spoke of, at some point, supply chain finance goes all the way down into the long tail of how it truly works, even in the global commercial B2B space of transaction processing and in traditional credit card rails.
So is that where you see the opportunity?
I think number one, our opportunity is continuing to focus on our core business in the supply chain finance. That will never change because we're exceptional at that. We've got incredible scale at that. I mentioned the 400 customers. We've got over 30,000 suppliers on the platform, 100 different bank partners we work with. We're in 80 countries across 80 currencies. And we process $250 billion of payments that go through our platform today of supply chain finance. So that's a really neat opportunity for us to continue to grow and expand, help entrepreneurs, help other supply chains. But the adjacencies that will be created, I absolutely think there's opportunity to close those gaps between that B2B commercial digital traditional payment and the supply chain finance. So it's definitely some things we're looking at.
Now, if you get into that area, then do you think that your platform could help kind of launch a domestic or U.S.-based company internationally, because you guys are kind of handling some of that currency and the international finance part?
Potentially. We're already an international company today. We've actually got offices in...
Right, you are, but if a company's here in America and wants to partner with somebody and they choose you, you're kind of giving them a platform internationally that comes along for the ride.
Yes, absolutely. No question about it. And we're giving them a platform internationally. Now, obviously on traditional payment rails, that's a different conversation. From supply chain finance, we can already help, internationally. The platform is ready and capable to do so. But absolutely.
So now moving forward, what are you doing to kind of just keep continuing to press the gas?
With the 400 customers and key clients that we have, again, across the 30,000+ suppliers that are on our platform today and continue to expand and grow. I'm going to throw one other number at you. I'd mentioned we process today $250 billion, but with our 400+ customers, there's actually $825 billion that they spend with their suppliers today. 250 which of what we're monetizing and transacting on. So it's continuing to work in our core business, work with our current customers, unlock more of that cash. That 250 in payments process can become 500, can become the full 825 billion. Again, it gets the suppliers their money faster, gets the buyers an opportunity to reinvest back in their business. So the good news is we've got the opportunities right in front of us already. It's execution. It's exciting times here.
So now when you mentioned kind of getting paid faster and earlier, like what's kind of like a worst case scenario that you've heard that you've been able to accelerate the payment on? Like, was some payments, 90 days, 120 days, even farther out, and you're able to, within days get them their money?
Yeah, absolutely. I think moving it to 10 days or less is really our critical mantra. In some cases, we've seen terms get pushed to I don't want to 365 days, but every buyer and in their ecosystem has absolutely different terms. So no matter what the term is, we absolutely can get 10 days or less, and a lot of times very next day funding. So if someone needs money today, tomorrow, on our platform, they hit a button called trade, and it starts the process. And within 24 hours, usually they've got the money they need.
Wow. So that's kind of life or death for some organizations.
Oh boy, absolutely. Especially, again, you think about kind of the environments we're all living in today, and being important to thrive as a business. Coming out of the pandemic, every business is going to want to find ways to reinvest and grow and recapture, in some cases, what maybe last year they couldn't capture. So, money is an accelerant, to any business to grow, especially when deployed the right way. So we're happy to have a platform that helps add that jet fuel.
So now, are your clients, were they using a different service and they switched to yours, or were they just kind of managing through this cash flow lag?
That's a great question. Some of our clients, yes, we obviously do have competitors, and in some cases both will be new to supply chain finance, or we've competed and taken some clients and customers away from a competitor. One of the big benefits of our platform, and some of our competitors have more of a banking focus and a banking strategy. We have what we call a multi-funder strategy. I mentioned 100 plus different banks that partner with us. That's very unique to our strategy because we're agnostic to where the funds come from. So we tend to get the best and cheapest rates for the money for our suppliers and the buyers. So it's pretty critical because now we can really start to pressure test and make sure that not only are we adding value, but we're actually adding value at the best price, for the suppliers and entrepreneurs. But typically supply chain finance has been around for a very long time. But the adoption curves of how and when people need to use the money or action it, continues to increase.
So now what are you looking most forward to in 2021?
2021, getting back to the office. I think that'll be a good step. I think we're all as businesses making those decisions, as we come out of the pandemic and where we can go. So collaborating and getting back to high-fiving and that's an exciting time ahead, and enjoying the local environment in Atlanta, in the city. So that would be number one. Number two, obviously, is executing against our goals and helping more businesses along the way. I'd mentioned some exciting times ahead here, and I can't say that enough. I think the team at PrimeRevenue is they're ready. We're ready to act. We're ready to execute. Internally, we had a great town hall even yesterday that you can just see the energy, coming out of last year into this year to execute against our plan and grow the company. So both of those fronts are really what I'm looking forward to here in 2021, getting back together as a team.
Now, how did you manage the culture during the pandemic when people moved from, all together to remote?
I joined the company actually in January of this year, so I wasn't physically at the company during that time, but I can speak on our CEO, PJ, and the executive team here. Very quickly, reacted and moved to remote. Now the good news about the organization is that because we're a global reach, and we work across many time zones, Zoom was not a foreign concept. So that's the benefit. The company was very versed at working in some cases remotely. Just like any business, unfortunately, you lose the connective tissue of walking down the hallway and having lunch with your teammates. But hopefully we get that back this year.
But as a part of the company culture, kind of serving and giving back to the Atlanta business and financial service community is part of the DNA, right?
Oh boy, I'm actually really glad you brought that up because yes, we've really started to take a part and have been a part of a lot of pretty healthy organizations. In fact, towards the middle of last year, and now I believe officially launched in February here, we joined about 150 other local companies with the Metro Chamber of Commerce for Atlanta Action for Racial Equality. That's something that's definitely a key focus for us, and the mission there is to really participate in what will eventually be rollouts of playbooks, inclusive economic development, education, workforce development. So really being part of that, impacting the local community there. We've also been a longtime member since about 2006 and an active fundraiser to support the community, specifically with Families First Foundation. That's something that the entire company really spearheads and participates in. And Families First, as we know, supports families that are at need during holidays, back to school. Whatever money we raise to go help buy gifts, wrap gifts, and support those families that isn't spent, we then also roll that into our Atlanta Food Bank participation, which is about a quarterly event for PrimeRevenue. A lot of people in the organization box food, deliver food. So, participating locally is really critical, to our culture and making sure we're driving change and participating in change. So thank you for asking, but absolutely that's embedded within our DNA.
Now, kind of moving forward, what do you need more of? How can we help you?
Wow, I love that question. I think we're doing it. I want to get the message out. I joining the company am and was incredibly excited, not only to bring the traditional payments, background that I've got, but also just to add fuel here. And Atlanta is such an incredible market to do that. And so platforms like what you're providing, I think is critical. Education is critical. The more we know, to be a part of an organization that's solving real business needs. Money is a real business need in a lot of cases. And so to get that message out, not only locally, but again, globally, I really couldn't appreciate a platform like this to do that. So any more opportunities, I'd love to take advantage of doing so.
Well, we'll make that happen. What about from a talent standpoint? Are you hiring?
We're always looking, for exceptional talent. We do have some open positions today locally. Absolutely. And we have typically our job posting is on LinkedIn, and it does get posted out to a couple other key areas. So absolutely keep eyes open. We'd love to attract talent. Internships we're always entertaining as well. Please go to our website. All of our PrimeRevenue website. There's jobs posted there. So excited to always add to the team and continually evolving and supporting the local job market as well.
And that website's PrimeRevenue.com?
That is correct.
And is that the right place to go if somebody wanted to connect with you and have more substantive conversation about what's going on over there?
Absolutely, it would be. We've got a contact us section there. You've also got the careers section, and in contact us. You'll see the leadership of the team too. So you get a chance to kind of see the hands at work on the site. And then also underneath that group is a huge team that would love to participate and work with any new customers as well as any new employees.
Well, Gavin, thank you so much for sharing your story today. You're doing important work and we appreciate you.
Well, thank you again for the forum and the platform, and I appreciate the time you took today. Thank you.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We will see you all next time on Atlanta Business Radio.
Today's episode of Atlanta Business Radio is brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com.